Hey, welcome back to Human Serokind TV. I'm so glad you're here. This week I went looking for one thing: real people doing real acts of compassion between the 27th of July and the 2nd of August. Not celebrities, not big campaigns. Just ordinary people who saw someone in trouble and moved. I found 11 of them. Every single one is true, and every single one happened in these 7 days. Let's get into it.
Before I start, let me tell you what surprised me while I was putting this together. Not one of these people woke up planning to be a hero. There was a woman who only learned to swim in her 70s, a 9-year-old with a savings jar, a crowd of drivers who lifted a car off a freeway before the sirens even arrived. None of them planned to be in the news. And honestly, that's the whole point of this channel. Kindness isn't rare, we're just not looking for it. 11 stories, 7 days, here we go. We start on Sunday the 27th in the United States. She's a retiree. She didn't learn to swim as a kid, didn't learn as a young woman. She learned after she retired, and this week, that skill she picked up late in life is the reason a man half her age is still alive. She got him out of the water. Think about that for a second. Somebody could have said, "I'm too old to start." She started anyway. Every skill you learn is a door you might one day open for someone else. Remember that one. Monday the 28th. Houston, Texas. A car goes off an HOV overpass, flips, and lands upside down on a busy freeway. 3 women trapped inside. Now, on a road like that, the safe thing to do is stay in your car. Instead, drivers pulled over, got out, and worked side by side to get those women free. Before the emergency crews arrived, nobody waited to be told. They just moved. That's the story. Tuesday the 29th, and this one takes place somewhere completely ordinary. A small post office in Arizona. An 8-month-old baby suddenly stops breathing, and a post office worker steps straight in and keeps that baby going until the paramedics get there. I love this one because it reminds me that everyday heroes don't wear uniforms. They work ordinary jobs in ordinary places, and then one Tuesday they save a life.
Same day, different corner of the country, Montana. A man is drowning in the Yellowstone River. Fast water, hard to reach. And a teenager on the bank reaches for the one tool he actually knows how to use, a rodeo lasso. He throws the rope, and he pulls a complete stranger back to shore. He didn't have rescue gear. He had what he had, and he used it without hesitating. Still the 29th, over into the 30th. Santa Cruz, California. A sudden wave crashes at the beach and drags a 10-year-old boy out to sea. The lifeguard who goes in after him is 16. He swims into pounding surf, and he brings that boy home. The boy's father spoke afterwards and said his son thought he was going to die out there. A wave took him out. A teenager brought him back.
Here's one with no sirens in it at all, and it might be my favorite. Riley Middaugh is 28, and she needed somewhere to live. Tom Ward is 71, and he had a guest house sitting empty, so he gave her the key. And what started as a practical arrangement turned into a real friendship across a 43-year age gap. Kindness doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes it just looks like a spare key.
Thursday the 30th, Kerala, India. When Aisha's daughter was diagnosed with a disability, her husband left. She spent 16 years fighting for her child, and then she did something extraordinary with all of that hard-won knowledge. She built Snehasandram, a trust run by mothers, for mothers raising children with disabilities, livelihood support, emergency help, and a community that understands without needing anything explained. Around 200 mothers now lean on it. She turned her hardest years into other people's safety net.
Friday the 31st, Utah. Lightning strikes Casey Pettis' truck on the highway and burns it down to ash. He walks away unharmed, which is a miracle on its own. But that's not the story. Later that same day, his 9-year-old son comes to him and quietly hands over his entire life savings. The whole jar, no conditions. Just, "Here, Dad, take it."
Same day, over in England, volunteer taxi drivers and ambulance crews gave up their whole day to drive military veterans from all over the country down to Worthing. On the coast, an annual trip run by the Taxi Charity for Military Veterans. Old friends who hadn't seen each other in years sat together beside the sea. A day out sounds like a small thing. Being remembered isn't small at all.
Saturday the 1st of August, Uttar Pradesh, India. two friends looked at the riverfront steps near them, the ghats, buried under plastic, and decided they were worth saving. So they started clearing them. Weekend after weekend, by this week they revived 4 ghats and pulled out a full ton of plastic waste. They didn't wait for permission to care for a place. They just started.
We finish on Sunday the 2nd in Richmond. There's a man there who has been teaching English for free for years. This week he passed 1,000 students. 1,000 people who can now walk into a clinic, a school, a job interview in a new country, and ask for what they need. One volunteer. 1,000 new voices. That's the mass of one person deciding to be useful.
So, 11 stories, and after sitting with all of them, 4 things stood out to me. 1, nobody waited. Not one of these people stopped to check whether helping was technically their job. 2, they used ordinary tools, a rope, a savings jar, a spare guest house, an empty afternoon. 3, it's never too late, a swimmer in her 70s, a teacher on his 1,000th student. And 4, it travels. One act pulls in neighbors, then strangers, then whole towns. None of that requires money or fame or a plan. It just requires paying attention. Okay, your turn. Tell me about a kindness you saw this week. A stranger, a neighbor, a small moment that nobody filmed. Drop it in the comments, because the best ones go straight into next week's episode. If this lifted your week even a little, hit subscribe. That's genuinely how these stories reach more people. So be to play. Quick note on sources. Everything here comes from published news reports dated within this week, and the photography is illustrative, not of the individuals named. I'm glad you're here. I'll see you next week.